initially I thought it was just like clips about jokes. Like when I was first introduced with my buddies, like it's just like, oh, this guy is, because you see it all the time, like people making jokes. But I think I was drawn to you, and I think a lot of people are, because you show that other side of your life. Like a big example is, how close you are with your family and your mom. Being Italian, very close to my mom as well.
Mhm.
I bet you
Mhm.
she's an inspiration in your life. And
Yeah.
how much closer did this pandemic bring you to your family, and how have they helped you with your career so far?
Yeah. I've definitely, along with, fixing my own problems, I developed at least a little bit of a better relationship too with, my mom and just my parents in general and other people, friends,
Hmm.
and and my brother too, especially. And that's been a big part of this as well. That's helped me kind of move forward because so having a support base, within your own family or friends is pretty big, with especially with what I'm doing.
Of course.
Definitely helps. And knowing that, like my parents are, immigrants from Iran, and they came to Canada to, for me and my brother to have a better life. And the fact that I can just do what I love every day and not the traditional route of, what other Persians or immigrants do is like become a
Hmm.
doctor, lawyer, engineer. And, the fact that they let me, well, not let me, but like they were, I guess, okay with me doing what I'm doing now and seeing
Right.
how much success I've built over the years. Um, it's really motivating as well because I'm like, okay, well, and because obviously at first they had their doubts, their hesitations, but along the way I had to show them obviously that this is for me and I can make something out of myself, right? Doing this.
Right.
There's doesn't have to be the traditional route of going to school and getting a degree and getting a job 9 to 5, right? So
Yeah.
having that support base has definitely helped a lot, and they obviously support the videos completely now, my whole career completely, which is nice. And yeah, and I've definitely gotten a little bit closer too. But I think that's super important as well, man. Like I never was one to know how to even deal with relationships or having a stronger connection with people. I just never was raised to even like know how to do that. But this pandemic has definitely helped me to do that more. And yeah, it's been nice, definitely.
Yeah, it's a chance again, like we were talking about, is catching up and slowing down, seeing what's important in life, and just I want to go back to what you were saying about that whole your family accepting that career path, because again, I can only imagine what you went through. I went through the same situation. If you want to pursue film, and I think any creative can relate to that. It's not a straightforward path. It's not structured at all. It's not predictable, and any parent, would be questioning that. But I think once you show what you can produce, and your talent, they start to see, hey, there is a possibility.
Yeah,
So I wanted to bring up, I read an article because I always like learning more about my guests, but also where they come from and what they're all about. And I came upon an article where it said you attended the University of Toronto, but you chose
yeah.
to drop out and pursue your dream. And
Hmm.
when I was reading that, I was like, because I went to Ryerson, and I felt like I graduated, but at the same time, like my mind was always in film, and I never really had the courage to pursue it. So I wanted to know what gave you that bravery to just drop everything and go pursue your dream.
Honestly, I my whole life I never really knew what I wanted to do. I just knew that I didn't like the traditional path of going to school and like doing academics and stuff. I was never really fond of it. I was just kind of felt like I had to do it, and a part of me felt that there was something off. There was something wrong. I didn't. This isn't like I wasn't enjoying going to school and doing these, regular things that other students are doing, right? And so, I was also always the funny person in my family too. So I knew I didn't know that I could make a career out of it for the longest time. But when I went to university, I made that decision because of my parents, and I just thought I wasn't thinking for myself. I just thought, oh, this is what I have to do. I don't know any better.
Hmm.
And once I got into that program, that was when for some reason my eyes were open to different things, and I started to. I always kind of had rebellious thoughts, but maybe I did it with the wrong intentions. But this time around, I was at a point where I was like, okay, university will be fun. But then when I got to university and I was like in the classes and the lectures and everything, I realized like a lot about myself that year. I was like, I can't learn like this. I can't. I'm not a person who can learn just off reading someone's slides or some shit. Like I'm way more hands on, and I need to be doing something. And I still didn't even know what. But that year, I was in university. I was well, even the years leading up to it, I was heavy into watching YouTube and social media and like creators and comedians, especially
Hmm.
doing stand up comedy. And I was binging videos like all year. I remember like every single day. That's all I wanted to do is to watch comedy and like watch funny comedians and pranks, sketches, everything. So I feel like subconsciously that was like feeding into my brain that like this is something I love already and like it's a passion of mine. I just didn't know it yet, like firmly, until the summer of after my first year when I was doing school. One of my friends was heavy into comedy as well, and he mentioned, "Oh, um, let's go to a comedy show." And I've never been to a comedy show. I didn't even know I could go to a comedy show, watching stand up. And so we went this one day, and it was at Yuck Yucks actually. And when we went there, it that day it changed my life in many ways because when I went there, I watched this show, and it was a Tuesday night, and it was a 7 p.m. show, and it was a bunch of these students who were doing stand up comedy. It was 2 minute sets, and there was like 10 people in the audience, including us. And I'm watching these people go on stage like absolutely terrible, just bombing,
Yeah,
and like
yeah.
maybe a little bit funny, but like,
Yeah, yeah,
but not amazing.
yeah.
So when I saw that, I was like, "Whoa, this is like so exhilarating watching this." I was getting nervous watching other people, but also it was fun. It was some of the most fun I've had in a while in my life. And when I asked one of the students after the show, the one of the guys who were on the show, because they mentioned that this was like a Humber comedy show. I was like, "What the fuck's a Humber comedy show?" And so I asked one of the guys, and actually the guy I asked was Curtis Connor, and he's like viral like right now
Right.
all over the internet. And but I asked him, I was like, "Yo, what's this Humber comedy show thing?" And he's like, "Oh, this is like every Tuesday night, the students who go to Humber College, the comedy program, they
Hmm.
perform at Yuck Yucks every Tuesday night. It's amateur night, whatever." And I was like, "What the fuck? There's a comedy program at Humber College? Like what? Like I had no idea, right? Like it was like almost
Yeah.
like unfathomable." So when I heard that, I was like, "Okay, what? Like, let me go. I need to look more deeply into this." When I went home that night, I searched up the program. I saw the courses they offered, and I immediately fell in love. I was like, "Yo, what the fuck? Like, this is." It immediately clicked for me. I was like, "Whoa, this is exactly what I would love doing.
Right.
I would love to do this. This is like
Yeah.
crazy. Like, I can actually make
Mhm.
this happen. Like now, there's something arbitrary that I can do, and it's not like unknown really. I'm like, this is here for me.
It was a
So
huge sign.
that was a
Yeah.
huge sign. I was like, I have
Yeah.
to take this. This is my moment to shine because
Hmm.
my whole life I went through school just very mediocre and lazy and just very off put by academics in general, and I needed to have a purpose, and I feel like that was the first time I realized that, and knowing like, man, like I know I can do that as well. Like these
Yeah.
guys are on stage, like I have confidence already. And I'm funny. I just need to do
Hmm.
it. And so that really solidified it for me. And after that day, I was immediately tuned out of school, and I was like, I have to get into this program, and I don't I need to make it happen one way or another. And
Hmm.
that week, I pretty much told my parents, I was like, yo, I'm gonna drop out to pursue comedy and acting and all that stuff because I love acting as well.
Right.
And they offered all that, and so I was like, I have to do it. Like now I'm completely tuned out. You can't change my mind,
Yeah.
so you might as well just accept it. That's what I told my
Yeah.
parents too, because obviously they were disappointed at first or confused, but at that point, I had to be the first person in my family to step my foot down, and be like, I have to do this for me.
Yeah.
And I don't care if it's an image issue. You think your friends are gonna judge, or oh, your kid's not an engineer or this. Like, I don't care. Like, I
Yeah.
actually can't care.
Yeah.
Um, I'm gonna be miserable if I go this route.
Yeah.
So yeah, and that was the day I realized, and ever since I've been. The thing is, when I made that decision,
Right.
surprisingly, my dad was actually he was very supportive, but obviously curious. But he's like, "Yo, if you're gonna do this, like you better go in all in or
Hmm.
nothing, because you can't go back.
Hmm.
Can't go back to
You
school.
can't.
It's over, right?
Yeah.
As soon as I
Yeah.
drop out. As soon as he said that, ever since that day, it's been ingrained in my brain that I have to hustle every day,
Yeah.
no matter what. And I've been doing that ever since 6 years now. And I haven't let down ever since that. So I've just been growing ever since that day, because I knew like
Hmm.
this is meant for me. It's my purpose in life, and I need to be the best. And that's it, man. I'm here. I am right now, just trying
For
my
sure.
best.
Yeah, no, you're killing it, man. And you know, I just respect what you were saying, especially what your dad was saying, especially early on, is, you know, supportive parent, but he's also very tough in telling you the reality. And the reality is that, you know, a lot of creatives, again, a lot of heroes of mine, Tarantino, Quentin Tarantino, Martin Scorsese, big filmmakers will always say, and comedians, right? Joe Rogan, that there's no backup plan. You know, you want this, you go all in. Joey
Yeah.
Diaz, like same thing.
Yep.
And it wasn't, they were on a podcast once, Joe Rogan and Joey Diaz, and kind of relating to what you were saying about going to Humber and, you know, this is the path for you. They never did it because, you know, there was so much money in it, or they thought that they could be famous. It's because it's the idea that they could beat the system. Like, I could get paid for what I love to do.
Mhm.
And that's why those guys, and so many of the people we admire in the industry, say, like, I feel like I'm in a game. I feel like this is not real life, because I think
Yeah.
that's the ultimate. That's what I realized as a creative myself, like pursuing my path. You know, if you could do something, get paid for what you love, and be happy for it, you won.